Good morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering the Houston Texans finalizing a trade for Bills star Stefon Diggs. We'll also be talking about the Chiefs and Royals to explore options after blowout loss on a sales tax vote in Kansas City. And we'll also be discussing a little bit about what's going on with the Kelsey brothers. And then since it's Thursday, we have our special rendition of Thirsty Thursdays, which will be a little bit different next week.
Do I just jump in here on this one?
Let me do the tips thing.
All right, do it. Okay.
Yeah. So, but before we start the show, guys, I'd like to ask that you like and follow the show. We get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show. So to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is GSMCpodcast.net. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it just also really helps the show. So.
Hey, Miss Faith.
Yes.
So this morning, everyone, Faith and I were having conversations before the show. Yeah. Mm-hmm. First, we were talking about we're having all these crazy dreams.
Yeah.
Last night, I woke up in the middle of the night thinking I was working on an advertising campaign, and woke up, thought I needed to go eat. And in my dream, I'm getting up to go eat. I go to my kitchen, I get a baguette, I bring it back to the bed, and I'm eating. And then I kind of wake up midway through as I'm working on the baguette. So I don't sleepwalk. So I was kind of awake and sleep at the same time, while all the same time eating a baguette.
Yeah.
So that is bizarre.
And I had my first nightmare about Tate yesterday. I was late in my dream. I was late for our production meeting, and I logged on to our Zoom, and Tate was just like really mean to me on the Zoom. And I was taking a nap before our production meeting yesterday, and I like shot up and was like really scared that I was late, and it was like 2 hours before the meeting was even.
I don't like people. Being late is a giant no-no to me.
Yeah.
And so I didn't mean to torture Faith on this one, but being on time is important. But
and I'm always on time, and so I was scared that I was late.
Then, poor Faith, we decided to do Thirsty Thursdays. The concept of Thirsty Thursday is people doing desperate things to get someone, to get the woman, or to get the guy, or the stalker-esque woman. Things like that. So poor Faith starts looking up Thirsty Thursday, and I guess she went down the wrong rabbit hole or something.
Word of advice: do not search the word thirsty on Reddit unless that is what you're looking for, because you're gonna get some stuff that you weren't expecting to see. So
Faith was today. She comes to the meeting. She's a little frazzled, and she's like, "We got to do something about this Thirsty Thursday thing." And then she goes explaining to me that thirsty may mean a little something more than what I think thirsty is. Thirsty is like hard up, desperate.
I think I was just getting a lot of explicit thirst traps is what I was getting. I don't know if you know what thirst. Yeah,
no,
that's what I was getting.
That's the whole. That's why it's Thirsty Thursday. All the thirst traps and things of that nature.
I was getting too explicit, in my opinion, thirst traps when it was on Reddit. So
I don't even understand how it goes down that hole, because even when you think about thirst traps or thirsty and all of that, I don't think the direction that went down with you, which is crazy.
I don't know. And that, like, before yesterday, I didn't even have a Reddit, so I don't know how I ended up on that side of Reddit. I don't even have a Reddit. So I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, so we're gonna think about how we're gonna do Thirsty Thursday, because we're not going that thirsty.
Yeah. Faith doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole again.
Yes. we're not going to go that direction, but we're going to do something for Thursday, just maybe not to that level.
Yeah. So I did find, I think, what is somewhat goes along with our original idea for today, but it may be different next week. So we'll see.
Okay. And speaking of thirsty and acquiring something, this is me trying to do this. The Houston Texans acquired a superstar.
Yes, they did.
Things are be like, what the heck are you talking about now?
I see what you did there.
Always a consummate professional here. You got to bring it around.
Yeah. All right. So with that, yes, the Houston Texans are finalizing a trade for Bills star Stefon Diggs. The Texans made a major move on Wednesday, trading for Buffalo Bills star receiver Stefon Diggs. The Buffalo Bills traded four-time Pro Bowler wide receiver Stefon Diggs to the Houston Texans for draft pick compensation on Wednesday. The Bills received a 2025 second-round pick via the Minnesota Vikings in exchange for Diggs, a 2024 sixth-round pick, number 189 overall, and a 2025 fifth-round selection. The Texans acquired the pick from the Vikings when they traded their 2024 first-round pick to Minnesota last month. The trade came days after Diggs responded, "You sure?" to a social media user declaration that he wasn't essential to Bills quarterback Josh Allen's success. The trade for Diggs comes on the heels of the reconstructing of offensive tackle Titus Howard's contract, a move that many believed laid the groundwork for the Texans to make a major splash in the trade or free agency markets. Now that theory has come to fruition, with Diggs landing in Houston alongside what was already shaping up to be an extremely dangerous offense. When completed, the deal will give the Texans one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL, with rookie sensation C.J. Stroud and the help quarterback Joe Mixon at running back, Brevin Jordan and Dalton Schultz at tight end, and the young duo of Nico Collins and Tank Dell as the other receivers.
Okay, first off, I was really surprised by this. I wasn't expecting this. This came out of nowhere. It happened after I found out it after the show. So we would have broke in and started talking about this during the show, but
Right.
we didn't know about it. I am a bit surprised by this, even though I knew that Diggs wasn't overly happy to be in Buffalo. I just thought he was too valuable for for them to move on. I think I'm going to talk about the Buffalo Bills first and then the Texans. This to me signals a restart for the Buffalo Bills. A lot of people may disagree with me on this one and still look at the Buffalo Bills as a Super Bowl contender, but I do not. If you think about this, it took the Buffalo Bills all the way to the last game of the year to make the playoffs and win the division last year. And they needed help. They needed the Jaguars to lose and some other things to happen in order for them to get in, and those things happened. They could have easily missed the playoffs last year. During the offseason, they didn't get better. They got worse. The crazy thing is they got rid of their all-world wide receiver, and now they're incredibly thin at wide receiver, and they're going to have to go out and find or draft a brand new wide receiver. So they're going to be in the hunt for wide receiver. The AFC East, I think, is totally up for grabs. Buffalo, they're going to be there. The Jets have a real shot. Not so much the Patriots. But that division is totally up for grabs. So I look at that and I'm just like, I don't know if I'm Buffalo, if I'm doing this. I don't know if I'm doing this move because it brought them back to the pack. The Jets are up and coming with Aaron Rodgers coming back healthy. It's an older team, but they're in that win now mode. Uh, and so you look around and I don't know. I don't understand what they were thinking. Give me 1 second. I wanted to make sure. Uh, just trying to, and then I couldn't think of the other team. The Dolphins are right there as well. So when the cream of the crop, it's like the Jets, the Dolphins, the Bills, that's anyone's division now. Um, yeah, I went brain dead on the Miami Dolphins for some reason. Could not think of the Miami Dolphins to save my life. So that I mean, when I look at that, I put them back a step behind the Dolphins uh now in the Jets. Now, the Texans. This is a heck of a move for the Texans. The Texans are stacked everywhere. They go in. CJ Stroud came on out of nowhere. I didn't know he was going to be rookie of the year and just set the NFL world on fire. And this is what a good organization. I once upon a time, just a couple years ago, I thought they were a dumpster fire. Now they're acting like an elite organization. They got their star quarterback, and then they're putting weapons around him. Solid offensive line, receivers, three solid receivers. That's the thing that makes it crazy. And then they also have Dalton Schultz, which I am a huge Dalton Schultz fan. I think he has the ability to break out and become an elite tight end. I look around and Joe Mixon's in the backfield. They got him through free agency. They made some moves on defense. Right now, I went from looking at the Texans as maybe an up and coming team to, is it crazy to look at them as possibly one step behind the Kansas City Chiefs, if not maybe even ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs? I know a lot of people have put them behind the Chiefs, and you have to put the Chiefs as a top choice. But if you look at the Chiefs, they got hot at the right time, but as a whole, they struggled and was kind of like a step back a little bit last year. Their step back is still winning the Super Bowl, which is when you got Patrick Mahomes. But CJ Strauss is coming. So looking at this right now, you have to say, still give Kansas City 1, the Texans 2, the Baltimore Ravens 3, 49ers 4 as the 4 best teams in the league, or maybe the 49ers 3, Ravens 4. The Texans have improved that much. Where they were weak once, they are strong. Now Diggs, how he performs this year, I think is super important. This could be a long-term solution or a short-term solution. If Diggs comes out and performs like he normally does, and this could be a great situation. Diggs had his contract, had his money, and in the end, it seemed like Buffalo just wanted to get rid of him. They didn't even get a draft pick for this year. They got draft picks for next year. He wasn't happy. They were talking about, is it Diggs that made the quarterback, or did the quarterback make Diggs? Well, Diggs wasn't happy in Minnesota, and he got his way out of Minnesota, and he went to Buffalo. He's not happy in Buffalo, and now he's with the Texans. One time's a fluke, twice is a concern. If it's a third time, it becomes fact that he can't get along wherever he goes. I know a lot of people aren't talking about that, but that's the reason why he left Minnesota. He wasn't happy. The main reason why Buffalo and them are parting is he's not happy. He's getting his money. It's not a situation where it's like, hey, I want to get my money. I think he got about a $95 million contract. So he's getting his money, but still not happy. Josh Allen's numbers went through the roof with Diggs. And Diggs was a big part of why Josh Allen took off to the level that he's at. Josh Allen kind of went back a little bit this year, and now he's not going to have Diggs. I'm very curious to see what happens with Josh Allen now that he's lost his main weapon. That's kind of my take on this whole thing. It makes an interesting start to the NFL season. If like thinking on a fantasy football level, man, I'm CJ Strauss is definitely someone you want fantasy wise. Diggs, Mixon, all those guys. I'm the Texans. I'm a very high on the Texans, and I am absolutely selling the Buffalo Bills. I wouldn't draft Josh Allen high. I know we don't normally talk fantasy, but I'm just saying Josh Allen, who is normally a very high end, high pick quarterback, no, not for me. I would definitely let him pass. So that's my take.
So you don't think, that it was a good move for the Bills to let Stefon Diggs go then?
Um, I definitely think not if they're looking at things and saying we're trying to make it to the Super Bowl this
Mm-hmm.
year, because that is not a move that of a team that's trying to get to the Super Bowl, especially how they got to the playoffs this year. Barely getting into the playoffs, uh, that losing a weapon of that caliber doesn't make you an even better team. It makes you less of a team. Losing your quarterback's number one weapon doesn't make you a better team. So no, I do not like Buffalo this year because of this move. Strictly, I wasn't very high on Buffalo in general after the way they ended the year. Um, and then to see them start losing weapons on top of that makes me even less
Mm-hmm.
me taking the Bills long term or for contending for a Super Bowl. I like if I'm ranking the AFC East now, I got the Dolphins one, the Jets two, Buffalo three, New England four. That's kind of how I have it ranked. And I have the Texans, their division. I have them ahead of the Jaguars, and I got them in the head of the Jaguars and the Colts. I got them winning that division quite handedly now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the way I look at it.
Alrighty. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting this move. This was a surprise. It's tough when you do the early morning show and then you see a move
All the
like this,
news comes
and
out.
it's
Yeah.
like, oh man, I want to talk about this, but you have to wait and be patient and then
Yeah.
have a dream, eat a baguette, and then come to work.
Oh, mercy. Alrighty, guys. Well, with that, we are going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the Chiefs and the Royals to explore options after the blowout loss on sales tax vote in Kansas City. So make sure you guys stick around, and we will be back in a minute.